mentioned that you have this vision potentially of expanding. What does that look like in the near term? And maybe even if you want or have already started thinking about how does this evolve in the longer term? What is the unmet need out there that still needs to be delivered to the decision makers?
Yeah, I think whenever you devise a program, you almost at the day of launch, you have to start thinking and discussing what's next. Where do we go? And it's very important for a variety of reasons. I think earlier renditions of endeavors like this have become stagnant and outdated because the system, as we know, changes and evolves continuously. So producing something that hits the mark today will be out of date in a matter of a few years. And the system, as it evolves, you need to continue to evolve. So I think the inclusion and understanding and availability of real world evidence over the last 5 to 7 years has increased significantly. And that is what has allowed CoLab and our PMD program to flourish and even exist because of the availability of that data. When I say we would like to scale up and think forward, part of that is undetermined. It's just we want to follow the trends of the system and have that crystal ball and say, where are we going? What are some of the things? Now, at launch, we focused in on, okay, our bread and butter needs to be queries are coming in, let's execute, and let's show proof of concept. And that has now happened. Looking forward, we understand that we are not the only game in town. We're not the only game in the world. And internationally, there are other groups that do much of the same work, but for their jurisdictions, for their country, for their region. So one of the things that we're trying to invest in is continued strategic partnerships, working with groups like FDA Sentinel, NCEP out of France, NICE, Darwin EU, a variety of groups that are also in the RWE world to support their decision makers. Clearly, we can't be the only ones with these questions. And so it seems silly and inefficient for us to ask the same questions and do the same work when we could be working collaboratively. So in our moniker, CoLab is all about that. We needed to kind of invest a bit in that. More locally, we know that there's a lot of great groups in our country doing either real world evidence work or have clinical expertise in areas that we're very interested in. So how can we leverage what's already here? Let's not recreate things that are already in existence. And so there's great groups in our country that are, again, vested in the understanding of real world evidence, where it's available, how to access it, things that have been funded by our own government that are sitting there unused, which seems so wasteful. So how can we go and make partnerships with them to support them and to broaden what we can do? Other things such as improving stakeholder engagement. So what does that mean in English? There's more in the equation than just decision maker and CADTH CoLab. Clearly, there's more to that equation. And that equation includes industry, it includes patients, it includes clinicians, it includes the community. How do we do a better job of having those conversations, right? So we have, since launch, created an advisory committee, which is a multi-stakeholder committee. This is a novel approach. It's not usually done this way, but we try to include as many voices so that we can have that well-rounded strategic conversation that considers those perspectives. Like, what is industry thinking about real evidence? What is the patient thinking? How are clinicians receiving it? What are payers thinking? Public and private insurers, and our jurisdictions that are deciding. So the long-winded answer to your fairly short question is, where are we going? The sky's the limit. I think our easy wins in front of us are really anchored around strategic partnerships, leveraging what's already in existence, and growing our program, building our CoLab network, perhaps getting more folks that are part of the research network that can contribute to the great questions coming in.